If your home didn't sell last year, the worst feeling isn't lowering the price and watching it go down and down. It's watching other homes around you that you thought weren't even as good as yours sell and go under contract while yours still sits. This leads to a lot of frustration from the people that I've worked with. They keep wondering, what am I doing wrong? What could I have done different? If that was you last year, hang on, because this video is for you. So if you listed your house last year and you are trying to go back on the market in the spring, let's say March or April, you're not behind yet, but you're getting close. In this video, I'm going to break down my 8-week listing prep timeline as if you were one of my clients. Using this timeline will help take some of the stress out of the preparation, tell you exactly what you need to do and in what order, and get you ready to sell this time without all of the hassle. If you've been on the market, you know how tough it is out there, especially once you get under contract. Buyers are not settling for homes that are needing repairs or any surprises. So to get in front of that, you need to be prepared up front. And that's exactly what this timeline is going to help you do. And don't worry if you are watching this video later in the year, just pick your target date and work backwards 8 weeks. Also, quick disclaimer, you don't have to stick to the 8 weeks. Sometimes it takes longer, sometimes you get done faster. 8 weeks is just a good general rule of thumb. So you should feel pretty confident that once you get on market, you've done everything you can do to prepare for the sale. So let me walk you through the whole plan. Your first 2 weeks are your pre-inspection and your contractor bids. Weeks 3 and 4 are actually getting the repairs done. Weeks 5 and 6 is decluttering, deep clean, and staging. And the last 2 weeks are photos, video, and your final prep. If you'd like to get your own free copy of this timeline so you can look at it in a little bit more detail, there's a link in the description below. Click that link, give me your email address, and I'll send it straight over. Let's dive a little deeper. Step 1, pre-inspection and contractor bids. This is where you're going to have an inspector come out, just like a buyer would hire, and actually inspect the house. This gives you a list, just like a buyer would get, that you now can see what they would see so that you know what to repair and in what order. Now, the next stage after you get the inspection back, obviously, is you want to go through that report, pick everything out you want to do, and actually get bids or figure out what you might want to DIY yourself. A little bit of DIY caution here. Now, I do most of my own repairs around the house, so I'm not hating on that at all. But this might not be the time to tackle something you've never done before. You're about to list your house, people are going to be looking at this and inspecting, and if this is your first time doing trim carpentry, probably not the best time to experiment. Other minor fixes around the house that you have done before and you're competent in, by all means, go for it. But if you have never done the repair before and you're about to go to YouTube University and spend a whole weekend or 2 weeks at Home Depot, this is probably not the time. This is when I see most sales slow down or grind to a halt. I've met with the clients, we've done the inspection, generated the list, and what should have taken 1 to 1.5 weeks is now 3, 4, 5 weeks trying to get everything done. Because let's face it, you're busy, and trying to fit all these extra things into your busy schedule sometimes is not the best return on your time. This is where finding competent contractors, which if you're working with me, I have a list of, can really benefit you. Yes, you're going to spend money more than if you just done it yourself, but the return on the time to get on the market quicker and to have the job backed by a professional who has a warranty, that gives buyers peace of mind. And really, again, what we're trying to do is limit how much they can push back on. So now the next phase, weeks 3 and 4, are the actual repairs. Now, this is where you turn into a little bit of a project manager. You're coordinating with the contractors, making sure they're showing up at time, inspecting their work. And here's a critical point, making sure you get invoices and copies of any warranties. The buyers are gonna wanna see these things. So make sure you've documented everything. Managing the work so that it gets done on time is critical in this phase. So when looking at the pre-inspection report, what are some good rules of thumb for what you should be fixing? Well, I like to break these into 3 categories. First up is deal killers. Now, when you're looking at these are your major systems, roofing, electrical, plumbing, HVAC, and foundation. If there's an issue with any one of these, especially here in DFW, roofing and HVAC are almost always an issue. So if you haven't had your HVAC serviced in 2 or 3 years, now's the time to get it done. If the inspection uncovered anything wrong with your roof, get a roofer out to check. A lot of times you can repair these things and you don't normally have to get a brand new roof. However, if you get into the negotiation side with a buyer, they're almost always going to want a new roof. What you're trying to do is make sure the roof is insurable. Insurance companies in North Texas have been really cracking down in the last couple of years. And if the roof has shown any signs of wear or age or damage, they're not going to insure it, or they're going to make the buyer pay a huge premium for it. Take care of these now, and you're going to remove these objections from the buyers. Next up are big negotiation issues. Now, again, HVAC is somewhere in between deal killers and negotiation issues. If it's not working properly, it's a deal killer. If it's working properly, but just maybe older or not great, or it costs a ton of money to heat and cool the house, this is where a good inspection on that HVAC system can really help out. Again, the buyers are going to uncover this, especially if you see it on your inspection report. They're going to see it too. Take care of it now. Get an HVAC inspection. That's a big one here in North Texas. It gets hot. People are not going to buy a house with an HVAC that isn't working properly. Other examples would be like old water heaters. If you've ever had a roof leak before, if there's any signs of that still around, like water stains, things like that. When you look through the report, you're just looking at it from a lens of a buyer. What would I think if I were buying a house that had this issue? Would I want that fixed? If so, it's probably something you should take care of. Lastly, are high impact cosmetic upgrades. Now, this one is a little subjective and it really depends on your neighborhood and what your competition doing. But we need to be comparing what your house in its current condition looks like versus your competition versus what your competition is offering. That will drastically influence the price that we can list at. So when we look at these, we're always looking at return on your investment. If I spend $1 on paint, how many dollars do I get back? You have to compare with your competition. However, there are certain things that just work almost no matter what. And the big ones are paint. A fresh coat of paint is the closest thing you can get to waving a magic wand. Any stained, dirty, or damaged flooring should get replaced for sure. That's a big deal killer for a lot of places. Dirty or old or broken electrical outlets or light switches, these are low cost, high ROI things. When people see the fresh and clean light switches or electrical outlets, that's a big thing. Your lighting, it's a big deal. The lighting in the house is also another thing pretty close to waving a magic wand. First step is make sure all the bulbs work, but also they're all the same color. Nothing says I don't care, like walking through a house and you have warm light and soft white and daylight and different color bulbs all over the place. Just one uniform color throughout the house, at least throughout each room. So also, again, low cost, high impact is if you have any old, tarnished, or dirty or damaged light fixtures, like in the bathrooms and stuff, these things are not expensive. $30, $40 on Amazon or Home Depot, swap them out. The list goes on. I'm not going to go run through a whole list here, but you get the idea here. You need to make sure your house is presentable and in the condition that you would want to buy if you were looking. Next stage is declutter, deep clean, and staging. This is a big one, especially if you're going to be living in the house while it's for sale. Buyers need to be able to visualize themselves in your home. This is why vacant homes normally sell faster and for more money, because they're not cluttered with everyone else's belongings and stuff. So while that's not an option for a lot of people, there's a lot of steps that you can take to make sure your house is in the best possible condition. The big one is decluttering. And another way to say this, I like to call this pre-pack. You're going to move anyway. You got to start thinking about your house like a product. I cover this also in another video where I talk about why houses normally don't sell. I'll put a link to that at the end of this video. However, when you're doing this, just think about pre-packing. Are there items in the house that you use infrequently or not at all, or that you could live without? Pack them up. Especially your junk drawers or your closets that are kind of your collect-all things, pack them up. This is the stage, if you can afford it, I normally recommend getting a storage facility. If you can't, hopefully there's room in your garage possibly. Buyers will overlook a mess in a garage. Not complete nastiness, hear me when I say that, but if you have a bunch of boxes and they can tell you're already pre-packing and they're stacked in the garage, not a big deal. However, during the inspection phase, I have had to ask sellers to clean their garage out so we can take a look at the walls. They've been blocking electrical panels, so be sure when you do this that you're not blocking something important like attic access, an electrical panel, water heater, if you're going to stack stuff in the garage. And now for things that you do use more frequently, but obviously you don't want out for showings, I recommend maybe 1 or 2 to-go boxes. So each morning, if you're going to work or you're getting ready or a showing is coming, you pack all the stuff into that to-go box. And again, that goes in the garage or maybe it just goes in the car with you. Take it with you and then you can pull it back in the house when you're done. I know this seems kind of extreme, but I'm telling you, the extra effort can go a long way when a buyer's walking your house. So that's decluttering, pre-packing. Deep cleaning, that's pretty self-explanatory. I'm not going to go in detail on that. Just do a deep clean. Trust me. The amount of people that don't do this, you will stand out once your house is deep cleaned. A house that would have sold for less can actually sell for more just because it seems like the seller cares. They did a deep clean. There's not dirt everywhere. Anyway, I said I wasn't going to go on, but then I did. Last thing is staging. Now, when you think staging, most people think filling a vacant house with furniture. And yes, if you have a vacant house, I highly recommend that. It will do wonders for how fast the house sells, possibly getting multiple offers and better interest, better pictures, so it's highly worth it. But if you're living in the house, a stager can still come and make recommendations. Occasionally, depending on how much furniture you have or don't have, they can also still bring in furniture pieces or just very select pieces of art or little flourishes or whatever. They can basically accent your home or give you a plan to help you get where you need to be as far as staging and moving things around a little bit and get things just right. Better pictures and a better presentation when they come to tour the home, you have a higher likelihood of success for the sale. The last stage is your final prep phase. This is where we're doing the pictures, the video, we're getting the marketing ready, and we're finalizing the launch plan. Now, your work is mostly done in this phase. Now you're just in a maintenance period, meaning keep it clean. That's your biggest job at this point, is keep it clean. This is where the real estate agent normally, or if you're listing yourself, this is where you're doing a lot of the actual prep marketing work to get everything ready, because now you finally have the pictures back, you have the video, and so you're editing, you're crafting the marketing messages, you're scheduling the open house if you're going to do one. This is where most of that work comes in. Now, the last bit, as a little bonus, is you're analyzing your competition, because now what you looked at 8 weeks ago, there might be new homes on the market, new competition that you might have to look at, and you're finalizing your final sales price you're going to go on the market with. Yes, I know that was a lot, and there's a lot of decisions to be made. As a quick bonus here, I want to tell you, most people do all those steps I just listed, and then they call the agent. I know the agent was kind of involved in that last steps. They do steps 1 through 4, and then they call the agent. Flip that. Call the agent before you get started. You would be surprised how often I walk a house with someone and they tell me all the things they wanted to do, and we scratch half that list and we do something different, or we can confirm that list. The difference is knowing. Once an agent, it will help you sit down and look through your competition, because you should do that up front, and know what to do. Get that pre-inspection report. They should hopefully have a list of trusted contractors. They can even take over as project manager for you. Call the contractors, get them scheduled, line them up for you, and really be that professional that you want in your corner. Please, before you start any of this, call and hire an agent. Here's your plan. Interview and hire a great agent. Pick your list date and then work backwards on your plan and create a timeline for when you're going to accomplish all these tasks. Remember, like I mentioned earlier, there's a link in my description below if you want to copy that timeline template. It's all yours for free. Just go down there, you click the link, give me your email address, and I'll send it over to you. But one of the biggest things you're going to do through all this is flip your mindset and think of this like a buyer. When you're picking repairs, when you get suggestions and all these things, these are not personal attacks. These are making your product more attractive to the current buyer pool. Remember, smart sellers plan early and calm sellers win. And if you're listing in the spring, your 8-week countdown starts today.